How are we, guys? The gloves are off with myself, Curtis Woodhouse. Absolutely loved doing the video on Sunday on Carl Froch versus Nigel Benn. Loved it. And the comments and the video have been brilliant. Been some really good debate. Yeah, really enjoyable video. I'm going to be doing them every Sunday. Next Sunday coming up is Frank Bruno versus Anthony Joshua. Great fight. Still don't know who's going to win that one. So we're going to take the Frank Bruno that won the heavyweight championship of the world, or the Frank Bruno that got beat by Lennox Lewis. I think that was Frank at his best, versus the Anthony Joshua that beat Vladimir Klitschko. So we'll probably say in the peak of both. Stick them together and we'll mull it over. We'll chew the fat and work out who's going to win. Yeah, really enjoy them. Today I'm going to talk about a taboo subject in probably all the combat sports, I'd say, but certainly boxing. And that's quitting. Is it ever right to quit? Myself personally, I've been guilty of, and some of it might be justifiable, because when me and Sonny Edwards had our little thing going on, when he got beat by Bam and basically didn't want to come out of the corner, I seen that as a great opportunity for myself to stick the knife in on him. And it was a cheap shot, really, and a low blow, something I shouldn't have done, because my thoughts on quitting have changed massively since probably I retired. For certain, this game's a hard game. Honestly, if you're not involved in it, I can't explain how hard it is, and the money you get paid, it's ridiculous. You're living on the breadline for most of the time. And I think each fighter has the right to say, I've had enough. I'm done. I've hit my limit. Everybody's limit might be different. Me as a coach who's starting on my journey as a coach, if my fighter is getting hurt, I will be the first to put the towel in. I am not going to sit there and watch one of my fighters take a sustained beating or one punch extra than what they have to. Each fight is different. You know you fight on a personal level. You know if they're really struggling. You can probably tell by how they look, how they're reacting to you in the corner. But I'm not going to be one of them that leaves my fighter in for any longer than they should be in. And I won't be one of them that expects for them to go above and beyond when it comes to kind of courage and things like that. Like I said, I was critical of Sonny Edwards. I don't think I was critical of Daniel Dubois for some reason. I don't think I said too much on it, to be honest. And I don't know if I've mentioned this on any of my other videos, but I came close to quitting in one of my fights. I don't like using the word quitting. I came close to saying, I'm done. When I boxed Dale Miles, I think he stopped me in the 6th round, I think it was. And I got a double fracture of my cheekbone. The same injury that Fraser Clark's just had. I had exactly the same. And even, it's this one here, I can feel it. I've like got a dent in my cheekbone. And to operate, they have to go in behind your eye and click it out. And I got a double fracture of my cheekbone. And I was in agony, and I sat on my stool. I think it was round 4 or 5. I did it in the 2nd round. So I had 2 more rounds, and every time he hit me, it felt like someone was putting a red-hot poker in my face. I was in agony. I can't explain the pain. And I remember sat on my stool, and I was ready to say, lads, I'm done. And the only reason I didn't is because when I was ready to say I'm done, the bell went for the round, and I just kind of got up and went ahead with it. But them thoughts in my head, I just had no more left to give. And I ended up getting knocked out in the 6th round. And really, I should have pulled myself out of that fight. Like I said, the pain I was in was ridiculous. I don't know what damage I was doing to myself. Luckily, I'm still as handsome as ever, and there's no damage. You know, like I said, my face is deformed or whatever, but you can't really tell. But I'd reached my limits, I'd reached my limits, and I class myself as a tough kid. You know, whenever I've been in fights, I've always fought hard, but I'd done enough. I'd gone above and beyond. And let me tell you this as well, you know, when it's all over, nobody cares. That night I got rushed to hospital after the fight, a really bad concussion, and I was laid in the hospital bed. There's me and my wife that left in the back of an ambulance. And I was laid in my hospital bed, and I was sat there, and I was waiting to... I'd built myself up, and I was going to say to family, friends that came to see me, listen, I'll be back. Don't you worry about that. I'm going to be back bigger and better. Don't be upset. I'm fine. I'm waiting. I'm sat there for people to come in. Nobody came to see me. Nobody. Not one person. Just me and my wife sat there. So nobody cares. So if you get to a point where you feel you've had enough and you want out of there, then that's absolutely fine. And I think us as fans, we need to stop, and coaches that are in the game, we need to stop expecting our fighters to go above and beyond for a game, a sport, that don't love you back anywhere near when it's all over, even during. You know, fighters get used and abused and spat out and chewed up and spat out more than anybody. So fighters should not be expected to go above and beyond. If you reach your level, I think you're well within your rights to say, I'm done. And I'll never criticise another fighter for that. If you have a look at you'll probably say what you're on about. You did a video last week and called him Ben Whittaker. That was just clickbait. But Ben wanted a way out. And like I explained in that video, it was a psychological thing with Ben. It wasn't a physical thing with Ben. Psychologically, he just wanted out of there. But yeah, I see fans and sometimes as coaches and people involved in boxing expecting a little bit too much from fighters. It's okay expecting that off fighters when you're only showing them that level of respect, the smallest little bit of respect you're giving them, but you expect them to go above and beyond. I don't think it's fair. Don't think it's right. Again, I regret what I said to Sonny. It was a low blow, but an understandable one because we were having beef. So, you know, when you're having an argument, you say whatever you can to hurt somebody. So that's what I said. I didn't really mean it. When I watched that fight, it was a hell of a fight. And Sonny went above and beyond because he was getting a shellacking. He didn't need to get up when he got up, carried on fighting. You know, he gave everything he had and decided he wanted to get out of there and save himself for another day. And his corner did the right thing and pulled him out of there. Yeah. So for me to criticise him for that, like I said, it's a low blow. But when you're having a fight, you try and hurt somebody, don't you? So it is what it is. But I regret it. And I've never really been critical of people bailing out. Because like I said, I've felt that way before. And the only reason I didn't because the bell went. And I was like, oh, got to get on with it. But yeah, this game don't love you back. Don't love any of you. Anybody. So why should we make the ultimate sacrifice of something that shows us no love whatsoever? So that's just my thoughts on quitting. It's not quitting. If you've had enough, you've had enough. Don't be sat in your house at 45, not being able to remember some of the greatest nights of your life. That ain't what it's all about, boxing. It's about getting in. It's about doing your best, fighting hard as you can. But if you've reached your limit, you've reached your limit. And unfortunately, that is what it is. Like I said, don't go above and beyond. It sounds terrible, me saying that, but that's what I feel. Don't go above and beyond. If my fighter's getting bashed up in a corner, I will be getting him out of there. Because I love my fighters, but I know the game don't love my fighters. The game don't care about them. So when it's all said and done, I'll still be popping around to see them and taking them a cup of coffee round or going out with them for a Sunday dinner or whatever it is. I'll still be there. And I know this game will chew them up and spit them out. So I never expect them to go above and beyond. If they want to keep going and keep going, but I know they're getting hurt in there, and we have to fall out about it, then it is what it is. But I want my fighters to live a long life, a healthy life, and don't give something to somebody when they ain't giving you anything in return, or they giving you a little back in return. And unfortunately, like I said, no one loves boxing more than me. I love the game, absolutely love it, but I know it don't love me back. And I always explain that to my fighters, you know, be selfish in this game. Get in, get out. Don't hang around for anybody. No one's going to be patting you on the back. I seen a video yesterday with Joe Cordina, two-time world champion. And he had a phone call off his promoter. You know, this is Joe Cordina. In my opinion, Joe Cordina is one of the best fighters I've seen in the last 10 years. I think his career, I was expecting so much more from him, but he's been a two-time world champion, but I thought he could have been a superstar. I think he's actually been badly managed and promoted. Sounds like what you want about, it's two-time world champion. I thought he was going to be a proper superstar. Good looking, fast hands, could punch. Great fighter, but for whatever reason, it's not really happened for him. And again, now he's at the back end of his career. The game's chewing him up and spitting him out. They don't care. Next, conveyor belt. So when it comes to quitting, it isn't quitting. It's just about reaching your level, and everyone's got one. That's just my thoughts, and my thoughts have changed over the years. When I was a fighter myself, I could never accept that, but that's just me being a fighter. Now I'm a trainer, and I'm out of the fighting game, never going to have another fight in my life. I look at it differently, and I'm like, don't be staying in there for taking punishment that you don't need to take. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And that's my thoughts on it. And it'll be interesting to see the comments on this, because I think a lot of people will disagree with me and be like, what you on about? You know, you fight till the bitter end and this, that, and the other. And I understand all of that, but I disagree massively. There's life after boxing. There's loads of life left after boxing. And I want fighters that have given their all in the sport to be able to really cherish it after the lights dim and after you've retired. And you stay in there a few too many times for too long, you ain't going to be the same. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on quitting, guys. I'd love the feedback after. I think this will be a really interesting one to read the comments again. I think people's opinions could be pretty split on this. But, yeah, that's my thoughts.